I'm Zach with IPFRacing, and this week I'm shaving the engine bay. And now that I've moved the ABS module down into the fender well, I do not need this big bracket anymore. So I bought some spot weld drills, and after I get some of these brake lines out of the way, these three, I'm just gonna kind of lightly bend them up out of the way-ish. All right. I've not used this type of spot weld drill before. Figured I'd give them a try. The ones I normally use are like they look like a tiny hole saw, but these look like they might do a little bit better. So you can see these are all spot welded on, right? So it's just big weld zapper goes in like this on both sides of the sheet metal. Bing, 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 boom. Then it's attached. Really convenient for manufacturing, really inconvenient for taking brackets off if you don't want to clean up all the metal underneath. So, might need a new drill. Pretty wobbly here, my DeWalt dude. Let's see how this does on the first one. Oh, walking all over the place. I should probably grab a center punch. I was about to say, is that it? But that's a lot of spot welds. Let's see if it's any better now. All right, now I should be able to grab like a little pry guy, put in here. I mean, I could keep drilling, but I really don't want to. I know myself, and I'm just going to go through this piece too, and I don't want that. So I'm going to grab a mallet and a little angle punch, put it in here, do the same thing up here, knock that guy off. All right, looks like I got a little more drilling to do. I'm going to leave that there in hopes that the weld will pop based on the pressure of that being wedged in there when I get to it. That's got to be it. It looks like I'm going through the second one. Yep, you can see it popped. So that's pretty perfect. I'm gonna leave this wedged in here and grab that bottom one. You heard it. Oh yeah, you can't see in there yet, but very minimal marking from the spot weld drill. So I'm gonna grab these upper ones, get this bracket pulled off. And now that I have a better idea of, I mean, I can see how thick the material is here, but now that I've drilled through it, it makes it a little more obvious. I want to see. Now we're popped all the way through that one. And that one. There we go. So now I got a place I can come in and try to get behind this guy. And this is the one I couldn't get to before. Whoa. And that, germs, is how you do it. If you look over here, you can see where the spot welds were, but there's barely anything left. This one's probably the worst. This is where it was attached to the other one just by a little bit. You can see how I was just a little off drilling, but that'll clean up really easily with like my little 90-degree die grinder guy. And then when I paint the engine bay, hopefully you'll never know that there's a bracket there. At least from looking at it. Obviously this video will say otherwise, but now we do that same thing to this stud that had the power cable on it. Yeah, look at that. Whoa! With mostly my hands, look at that. Spot weld's gone. Oof, that's gross. All right, when I cut off these spot welds. I drilled them out. They left these little burrs, and when I paint the engine bay, I don't want that. You don't want to see that anymore, right? That's kind of the point of taking them off. So I just grabbed my little 90-degree die grinder dude, and I'm gonna clean them up. All right, do that on the other side now. I've never done this on a project car before. Seems pretty simple though. But I'm gonna shave the engine bay a little bit. And what I mean by that is I'm gonna fill in a lot of these unused holes in the frame rails, in the fender liner area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna touch them up with the die grinder, get rid of some of the E-coat and the paint, and then I'm gonna fill them in with the MIG welder and then go back and sand them. I figured it's probably worth the extra 30 minutes or an hour I'm gonna spend doing this before I paint the engine bay. That way it looks as good as it possibly can. So here we go. All right, and now that I got those touched up, I'm gonna grab the MIG welder here and start filling them in. I think I got them all. Time to start grinding. Start over here. These welds should be a little bit colder. And yeah, just got my die grinder, little 80 grit guy. I'm gonna start shaving these down. See how they look. I'm gonna go grab a new battery and a stool and knock out the other 20 holes I did. Hey, you gotta be American about it and just reload. I'm gonna step up to my bigger angle grinder with a flap disc with like a 36 grit just to make that a little bit quicker. Also, this Mondo 10 amp hour battery should last quite a bit longer than the little 12 volt 2 amp hour guys. Let's feather. Luckily, because this is a newer car, there's not a whole lot of holes in the frame that don't go unused. So I would hate to do like an old 90s car when you don't have any wires left, because it's way simpler, but there's just a bajillion holes left. And I'm not trying to do all that and like Bondo it all and stuff. That's way too much work. I am on a 4-month timeline, you know. All of the holes on both shock towers, a couple other ones that won't be reused, filled in, smoothed out with the higher grit afterwards. And then I think when I'm using like a really high solids spray paint, so it should build up pretty nicely and fill in any other divots that are left from the welds, but at least there won't be giant holes and it'll just look cleaner. I'll go on the backside too and just touch up and make sure there's no like Oh, like right here. There's just a big wire coming through where I missed. So I'm gonna just go check that, and then I think I'm going to, I can't decide. I kind of want to wash it off because there's a bunch of sanding dust here, but I also don't want this all to immediately rust, and I don't think the paint will be here for a couple days, so I might leave it for now and then just wash it right before I paint it. That way I don't have to worry about the flash rust from getting sprayed with water. So yeah, clean up the backside, and then base shaving is done. I'm gonna pull a bunch of crap out of the engine bay and get it cleaned up and ready to start painting it. Because after the motor is put back together and attached to the trans I just picked up, I want it to be ready to go in. So let's do it. All right, I'm gonna try to get the bay painted today. I already got the places where I grinded and welded to shave the holes covered with like one little coat of spray paint just to like give them a little bit extra so they don't rust or anything. But I'm gonna go through and wrap all of the stuff that I can't actually physically remove in tin foil, and then I'm gonna mask everything off and move all the other cars out of the driveway so I don't get overspray on them. And then start painting. Hopefully I can get that done today. I started with some painter's tape, trying to mask off all the smaller, more fine detail stuff. I got the cars moved out of the driveway just for any overspray. And then I'm gonna grab the masking like plastic with the painter's tape on it and mask off the rest of the body and the hood. And then I might try and throw the harness that's laying out here up over the hood. That way it's just, I don't have to move it while I'm painting. And I think that'll kind of be it and be ready to paint. All right, so if you've never seen this before, this just shows up like this. It's plastic wrap that expands. It's all folded up, and then it's got nice painter's tape on the end of it. It just makes it easier than having to try to separately tape on some plastic masking. So I think I'm gonna start with the body and then do the hood. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's probably gonna still not be super easy. It's also windy out here. So I'm gonna be using Seymour Paints MRO. It's like super industrial strength stainless steel colored high solids paint. I've never used this before. I bought like a case of it, and I'm gonna load it into my super professional paint shaker. I'm gonna start with a light coat, I hope. Since I've never used this before, maybe it'll turn into a medium to super heavy coat, I don't know. And probably do like one panel at a time. And then after 30 or 45 minutes, do it all over again. Oh, my hair's gonna be real gray after this. Okay, well, I don't know how much it caught. I think the camera overheated. This guy just gave up the gun. So on to can number 2. Back in the Sketchy Shaker 3000. Back at it. Oof. Look at that, dude. That's a sick color. I like that a lot. I don't know how well you can see it on there, but that looks pretty good. I'm gonna give it 30 minutes here and do it again. I did 3 coats of the Seymour paint, and now that it's past the recoat time, which is like an hour, I'm gonna peel all the masking off and see how it looks. Masking tape and some spray paint. I think I used 4 cans. 3.5 cans. Yeah. Do it. Worth it. 100%. It's gonna take a little bit of cleanup work. I think the high solids stuff, it actually like has some high solids. This is just like extra powdered paint. It's interesting, but like the finish looks really good when you wipe that off, so big win. Big fan. Takes 2 to 3 days to hard cure, and then I can start bolting the stuff back on. Slowly but surely. Here we go. As you can tell, the engine bay turned out pretty sweet. The Seymour paint laid down super nice. I've already started putting some stuff back together. But next week, the engine and trains go in after I get the DOD delete done and the new cam and valve springs in. So stay tuned for that. And as always, like, subscribe, follow, whatever. I'm Zach with IPFRacing. Thanks for watching.